If you're a content creator or you're looking to start, the type of microphone you use to capture that content is going to be important, whether you're singing or perhaps just talking to a camera like I am. And it's important that you get that microphone right. For example, in this particular section, the microphone I'm using right now is not suitable for the audio environment I'm in. So there are differences in the types of microphone that you can use. I'm going to cover the difference between the two main types, which are condenser mics and dynamic mics, to show you the difference between them, how they impact the audio that you're going to be picking up, and perhaps what's going to be best for you moving forward. So I'm back on a much more palatable microphone here. This is a dynamic microphone, and this is much more suitable for my particular setup. I am in a very echoey room with a hard floor, bare walls, lots of opportunity for that sound to bounce around in. Now that's not ideal if you're using something like a condenser microphone. So here's where we talk about the differences. Condenser mics like this, now I know this is a particularly expensive one, but condensers are powered microphones. They require some power, whether they come through the wiring of your audio interface, or perhaps you've got a USB microphone which plugs into your computer. USB types will get their power from that USB cord. So what they're doing is essentially they're being empowered to try and listen to that audio as much as possible. They're trying to search out and seek out that sound. What you'll get from a condenser is much more clarity than perhaps you would from a dynamic without doing a bit of editing or changing, but you'll get very, very good detail from a condenser microphone. It's all about picking up the detail. The drawback with that is it can pick up background noise, it can pick up more things like mouth noise, it can pick up any movements, breaths, and so on. A condenser wants to listen relatively far away. Now, dynamic microphones, on the other hand, are cheaper, but they require more equipment to work, and they are more focused in as much as there is a bubble. Now, all microphones have essentially a polar pattern. What a polar pattern is an area around the microphone that it wants to listen to. Now, you can have an omnidirectional microphone, which will pick up sound everywhere. An example of that would be something like a lav mic. Lav mics, the kind of thing you wear on your shirt. They are not very directional, so they will pick up all sound around. They don't really point in one particular place. It does help if you can point it at your mouth, but it is generally designed to pick up audio all around you. Whereas you can have shotgun microphones, like this one, and they are meant to point at the sound. So they will only listen to what's in front of the capsule, and they will try and ignore or not pick up all the sound that surrounds it. So it's very, very directional. That's the kind of thing you'll find on movie and TV sets, where you'll have that guy with that great big boom arm that holds it up above everyone's head and the microphone is pointing down. That's the point of a shotgun microphone. It just picks up that person's sound without picking up other environmental noises around them. So like I say, with most vocal microphones, this kind of thing, especially condensers, they have a polar pattern. And most of them, that polar pattern is somewhere around the front. It's generally known as cardioid. If it's a single direction, it's known as a cardioid polar pattern. You can get supercardioid and you can get hypercardioid polar patterns. And that simply means that they are more and more focused so that they listen to less audio, what's called off axis. So for example, this is a cardioid polar pattern dynamic microphone, and it only wants to listen to sound realistically 3 to 6 inches within the capsule. I generally tend to be somewhere between 2 and 3 inches from the capsule. About a fist distance is generally all you need. And I get really, really good sound quality there. But as I back away from the microphone, you'll notice that I'm getting quieter and quieter and quieter, because that's not what it's designed to do. It is designed to pick up that sound nice and close to it. A condenser microphone will still hear you quite clearly as you move away, but as you do that, you will also pick up more of that open air noise, and you'll pick up that reflected sound. Now, just to give you an idea of that open and reflective sound, if you're starting out and you think to yourself, you know what, I've got a webcam and that webcam has a microphone, I'm sure that'll sound fine. Let me just let my webcam play the song of its people. This is the sound my webcam's microphone picks up, and it's awful. It's really terrible. You can hear me, and it doesn't matter where I go in this room. I can go all the way over here. You're still going to hear me relatively well. There's no issues. We will be able to have a conversation on Zoom or Skype or something like that, but the quality is poor. So it picks up really well, but it doesn't have any detail. Don't be tempted by using just your webcam's microphone. A small investment in a decent microphone will really drastically improve your sound quality. For around £25-ish, you can get an interview style microphone like this one. It is a condenser style. It uses a 3.5mm jack plug to connect to my PC, and this is the kind of sound you can get without any tweaking at all. This is exactly how the microphone sounds out of the box. It will respond better if you use something like a USB sound card, because the power that it requires to work properly, a lot of PCs don't output a good amount of power, so instead I've got a small USB sound card plugged in which outputs a little bit more power, and that makes the sound a little bit clearer, a little bit nicer. There's less hiss and noise from the microphone. Any microphone that is underpowered, when you turn up the gain, you will increase hiss and things like that. But again, in software, you can edit that sound and you can get rid of most of that hiss. You can definitely clean up the audio, but this is a small investment to get what I think is a pretty respectable and decent sound. For a bit more money, currently about £35 on Amazon right now, this is the first ever microphone I used to record my podcast. That is the Amazon Basics USB condenser microphone, and it does sound really good, although in this software I have had to add a limiter on here, because without that limiter it does get a little bit on the crashy sound. It's very sensitive. I mean, I would have to hold this away, or if I can just bring the gain down, then I can get more on top of the microphone and get a decent enough sound. But I like the limiter, so I can get full gain on this. And it's a good sounding microphone. It works really well. The only drawback it has is it doesn't really handle plosives very well. If I use P's and B's, you can hear it pops. So Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If you get yourself a cheap basic pop filter like this, and you put that in front, then Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, it makes quite a difference. This is a really good mic to get you started, especially if you are using it, dropping things, for vocals or podcasting, that kind of thing. It's actually really, really good. Now you're listening to the Behringer BA85A, and this is a fairly basic and straightforward dynamic microphone. Again, it's cardioid. It wants to just listen to what's very close to the capsule here, and it doesn't like listening to things far away. It also doesn't like things off axis, so all of its sound it does like to be in front. Now what you'll gain from a dynamic is that control of your surrounding noise. It's great if you are singing on stage, for example, because it will try to ignore some of the background sound, instruments from your bandmates. So that's why you will find that professional singers, when they're up on stage, they are right on top of their microphone. I mean, literally, you watch Taylor Swift, it's there. I mean, I don't want to go too close, but they are right up on the microphone. The microphone is practically touching their lips, and that's because the gain is taken down a bit, and so they have to really sing into it, and that's how they work. You'll never find a singer who sings the microphone away like this. Yeah, this is really far away. This is great. That's not how they sing. They sing like this. That's the point of them. So a dynamic does that. Condensers, you can be a bit further away, but they will pick up other ambient sound. And actually, just to demonstrate that, I'm going to use this microphone. So this is the Rode NT1. I believe it's the second generation NT1. It is an XLR condenser microphone, so it does need power. So I'm going to be switching on the phantom power on my audio interface. That will provide 48 volts of power into this. It's a large diaphragm condenser microphone, it means my gain is going to have to come all the way down because it's super duper sensitive, but you're going to hear the clarity out of this microphone. Now I've had to take my gain right down because, like I said, this is a powered microphone. So on an unpowered microphone, I need to turn the gain up. On a powered microphone, I need to turn the gain down, and I've turned it down a lot, and you can really hear there's some good clarity here. If I turn that gain up just a touch there, you get some really good detail from my voice. You can really hear that clarity, but I worry I'm peaking here. I might need to engage a limiter on this just so that I'm not going overblown. There we go. Now I can talk at a more relaxed level. I'm not going to overblow the system here, but really, I mean, honestly, this is trying to peak like crazy right now. So again, you could turn the gain down and you could come nice and up close to it. You get that proximity effect. It sounds great. It's going to be a really good vocal mic, this. But again, having it too loud or having it further away, I mean, I can talk way back here and it still hears me absolutely fine, really well. So it doesn't make a difference that much if I'm up close to the microphone or if I'm far away from the microphone. It's seeking out my voice, and I can see the levels on my computer here. They are going crazy. So this is the kind of difference you get. And here I am back on my favorite microphone. This is the Samson Q2U. And this is an absolutely brilliant microphone, I think, for everyone getting started out, because believe it or not, if you are starting and you want good sound quality, especially if you're podcasting or doing voiceovers, then I think this is one of the best all-rounders because of a couple of things. One, it is XLR, but it's also, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera here, there's a USB port down there. So this microphone is actually dual use. You can use it as a USB microphone, which means you don't need to buy anything else. The average price of this on Amazon is around about £80. But that means you don't need anything else. You don't need an audio interface. You don't need extra cables. It comes with a USB cable. It even comes with a small desk stand if you want, although I don't recommend them. I recommend you get some sort of boom arm instead to make sure it gets as close to your mouth as possible. But it gives you that flexibility to get started right away, and then you can upgrade later on and get yourself an audio interface, and you can start to mess around with it and get more flexibility from it. It's a brilliant mic. It allows me to actually record this twice. I can record directly to my PodTrack recorder and also output my sound through USB into the PC and record the audio on my PC. So I can actually have two recordings from one microphone, and that's brilliant. That gives me a bit of peace of mind because I have a backup. I'm not reliant on just one, and that's what makes this microphone so good. I also think the balance of sound for its price is excellent. I mean, it's really good. It's not lacking in any one frequency. It's not really overcompensating in any one frequency. It's kind of a jack of all trades that just does a great job right across the board. And anybody who was to buy this microphone, I think, will get on really well with it. I've watched a bunch of reviews on this microphone, and so many people say, for the money, this is hands down probably your best bet. Do you need to spend more than this? Probably not. To get great sound quality? No, probably not. This is my recommendation, and that's why it's my daily driver. So I hope you found this video in some way useful, because I think this is the kind of information you need to get before you head out there and just start buying microphones. Honestly, you don't need to spend £300 or £400 on a microphone setup. You can get a very cheap setup and get good sound quality, and you can spend somewhere around about £100 to get a great setup. You don't need to go overboard. Your money is your money though, and I'm just here to try and give you some information. I'm not hawking any of this stuff. I will put links down in the description below for all of the equipment that I've talked about today in case you are interested in buying any of it. There will be affiliate links, but you don't have to use them. You can go and do your own thing. I'm not here to try and sell you anything. I'm just here to give you a bit of information. But if you found this video useful, interesting, or helpful in any way, please go ahead and smash that like button. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're interested in car care, make sure you check out my other channel and also my podcast about detailing. In the meantime though, I've been Specky. Thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.